Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com. Ciao everybody, it is the final countdown, Breeders' Cup week. Next weekend is the big event. We will be there. Follow us on all the Past the Wire channels for things you just will not see anywhere else. Before that though, make sure you tune in for the Sure Bet Coffee play of the day on Saturday. We had a couple of rough beat seconds, and then we switched to the Sure Bet Coffee Espresso blend, and it worked because we got Vava home last week at Keeneland in the stake. Not a big price, but small field, second choice, 5-2, 760. We'll take it all day long. Couple of things to talk about on this show, so we'll be back in a minute. We'll get started. We've got some Breeders' Cup thoughts, some HISA thoughts, and some thoughts on the new Mike Repole alliance that's, intended or hopefully gonna save thoroughbred racing, if that is possible. So hang tight. We'll be back in a minute.
I thought I knew it all until I started reading Past the Wire. You should read it too.
Morning. Paulie Tow Truck, Brooklyn, New York. I know John, PastTheWire.com, about 40 years now, and I can tell you something, nobody better than this man. After all, they call him the Pick 6 King, PK6, not because he was Walmart's best shopper of the month, you know what I'm saying? Subscribe, the Breeders' Cup's coming up. PastTheWire.com. Don't show up unarmed.
Your most profitable Breeders' Cup ever with Past the Wire. Sign up now for the annual Breeders' Cup seminar. All the angles, winning insights, betting strategy, and more. The best Breeders' Cup seminar on the planet, only from Past the Wire. With a proven track record of success, nobody does it better. Reserve your spot today at PastTheWire.com. Everyone begins in horse racing with exactly the same thing, a dream. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. That dream is what unites us.
Running the race of her life, and she's up to take the lead.
But what truly sets us apart is choosing to make that dream a thrilling reality.
And Spiced Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
At Dare to Dream Stable, we've been on a relentless mission to breathe life into those dreams for our partners for over 20 years.
Here's the Wire Mooncat.
Our track record speaks for itself. We've excelled at turning dreams into reality at the most reasonable price points in the industry.
In the winner's circle is Dare to Dream Stable, LLC.
So the question is, do you dare to dream? Join us in racehorse ownership today.
Well, it is, like I said, the final countdown, but you can still grab a seat at our annual Past the Wire seminar. Not just because it's our seminar, but I encourage it highly. It's a huge head start, some great insight, and this year we're gonna change it up a little bit. So if you've attended in the past, it's going to be a little bit different this year, so you'll see that when it comes out. We're doing it live on Wednesday, the 1st, the Wednesday before the Breeders' Cup. I think 6 p.m. Or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's all in the announcement. You can see it all there, and there'll be a replay for everybody available shortly after it ends. Whether you attend live or not, you still get the replay. You get both. So. Definitely something to consider checking out. And Thoroughgraph has a great one too that you may want to check out at thoroughgraph.com. If you haven't watched the Breeders' Cup Classic Horses by the Thoroughgraph Numbers and Patterns, that's another good way to get a little bit of a head start on the Breeders' Cup. Before we talk about HISA and the new alliance, talk a little bit about the Breeders' Cup and a couple of things I've observed. You see the same thing with the Kentucky Derby. You see with the Breeders' Cup. We get to watch a lot of workouts. And now you can do that all year long. Bruno with the works is putting out a lot of the works from Churchill Downs. Xbox TV puts out a lot of the works from California. You could find them on YouTube as well. So there's a lot of opportunities to watch workouts that we haven't had in the past. And I think, I'm a big fan of replays. So I like watching workouts, for myself, as opposed to just, looking in the form and seeing 48 breezing and not knowing how they worked or who they worked with, or, what, other particulars you might get out of seeing it live. The other thing that you'll notice is when most people talk about workouts, 99.9% of the time, the trainer's going to say he loved the way the horse worked. Are they always telling the truth? I don't know. I'm a believe half a none of what you hear and half of what you see kind of guy. So take that any way you want. But I always say trainers talk about horses like people talk about their kids. Very difficult to be objective. So they all love the way their horses work, and the media seems to follow suit. Very rarely will you see any of these workout analysts. And again, I'll throw Bruno's name out there. He might be the one exception that I'm aware of. That horse just didn't work good at all. You gotta watch and judge for yourself. Now, I'm no expert at watching workouts, but two workouts did catch my eye. And first off, I'm going to start with Go Rocket Ride. Go Rocket Ride. Thank you very much for the hat. Love it. On paper and on the Thoroughgraph, numbers and patterns. I think Go Rocket Ride appears ultra live going into the Classic. He's an improving 3-year-old for a great trainer. Ran big in the Haskell, ran big in the Pacific Classic. Looks like the 3-year-olds are very live heading into the Classic. But I will say this, from my eyes, what I saw, I did not like his last work. It was not the kind of work that I wanted to see going into the Classic. He worked outside another horse, not a horse I would say is Breeders' Cup Classic caliber. And it appeared to me that he was having a hard time getting past that other horse. And the guy on the other horse was kind of holding him back a little bit, letting Go Rocket Ride get him. And when Go Rocket Ride did get him towards the end of the work and get past him, when the work was over and they eased up, the horse inside kind of galloped out, stronger and ahead of Go Rocket Ride. Now, I'm not one to question, Richard Mandela. We know he knows how to win the Breeders' Cup, Breeders' Cup Classic. He's won it before. He's won his share of Breeders' Cup races, big races all over the place. One of the best at getting a horse to peak at the right time under the right conditions. So he knows what he's doing. I don't, but I trust my eyes, and I was not, as much as I like Go Rocket Ride, appreciate the hat, love him. I got to call it the way I see it. I was not thrilled with that work. The likely favorite for the Classic, Arcangelo, I think he's got a great name. I didn't think he had a great work. That 4 furlong work I watched the other day, he worked by himself. Maybe he's not a great workhorse. I don't know, but it looked to me, like he was, not getting over the track as good as I would like to see. Not, not striding out the way I would like to see a Classic, contend to go. He's coming in off a layoff. I was not thrilled with those two works personally, based on my own eyes and my own observations. So they'll probably run 1-2 now that I said that. So to the connections of both horses, you can thank me after the race. We will accept donations for getting your horses into the winner's circle. Horse racing's like that. Horses will humble everybody. What they say about gambling brings families closer together, because you should all be sleeping in one room or living in a much smaller house. That aside, one work I did like, I like National Treasure's work. He looked like he really really worked good going into the. I think they're going into mile, not the classic with him. And I liked his work a lot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. That's just one, small part of our handicapping. But I just thought it was interesting to mention that, and I could be wrong about Go Rocket Ride and Archangelo's works. You judge your own opinion and your own eyes are the eyes that you should trust. I'm just your second set of eyes out there. But, don't just take for granted that everybody's working great and everybody's, going in exactly the way the people want them to be going into a race. We'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. But, judge for yourself, be objective. Preconceived ideas, thinking who's going to win different races now is a huge mistake. Even if it turns out that you're right, in the long run, you're going to get swallowed up going in with these preconceived ideas before they even draw the race, and everything that you're going to know come race time, thinking who the winner is now. If it was that easy, we'd be doing this show from the beach in Tahiti with people fanning us with those things as we were talking. So that's just not how this game is. And if you think it is, you're making a big mistake. And that's all we're going to say on the Classic and on the Breeders' Cup for now. A lot more coming up. Dare to Dream Stables, excellent partnership. They're going to be out there at the Breeders' Cup with us all week long, and wager all week long. We're going to be taking you and showing you things that you just will not hear anywhere else. So follow Past the Wire TV. Follow Past the Wire. We'll have some great coverage and great insights to the Breeders' Cup all week long, right through the race. Maybe come up with a couple of winners at the seminar, and definitely come up with a couple of big swings to take. So you could rest assured of that. And hopefully we'll see you all there. We'll be back in a minute and talk a little bit about HISA and some of the things that are going on there, and this new alliance that Mike Repole is investing millions of dollars of his own money into. So hang tight.
To and through the 2023 Breeders' Cup World Championships, exclusive interviews, barn tours, winning insights, and more. Join Past the Wire all week long on the backside and at the rail from Santa Anita. Past the Wire at the Breeders' Cup World Championships is presented by Amwager and Dare to Dream Stable.
When HISA first came out, there were a lot of people in the industry who I respect and I feel have the best interests of both horses and horse racing at heart. And I don't believe everyone in the game falls into that category by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of people say they do, and a lot do, but not everybody. A lot of people have their self-interests and money at the forefront of their interest in the sport and in the game, and that comes before anything else. And again, that's not everybody, that's some, and it's like that in every business. And let's face it, you know, horse racing, sports in general is a business. Difference being is, you know, this is a business where we have the custodianship over animals. And that's a huge responsibility, much bigger than I think a lot of people realize. But, you know, back to HISA, when they first came out, although a lot of people that I respect and believe have their hearts in the right place in the industry were against them for a lot of reasons. And I went the other route. I said, you know what? I'm going to support HISA because I think horse racing as an industry has failed miserably to successfully self-regulate and self-police itself for a litany of reasons. And I felt that with whatever progress we've made, that ship sailed and we failed, and there was the need for someone else to try and do it. Did I want it to be the federal government? No. But that was what was thrown at us. Did I want it to be at the bettor's expense with higher takeout? No. But I think that was unavoidable in hindsight and was just bound to happen. And, you know, we're here now. The law passed, they're rolling, they're moving. But I got to say this, if you asked me in all the years, and that's over half a century that I've been watching horse racing, who came out of the gate the worst that you've ever seen? And I've seen horses dwelt. I've seen horses come out without the rider. I've seen horses go down to their knees. I've seen horses come out the back of the gate and go the wrong way. You name it, I've seen it. I don't think I've ever seen a race where a horse came out of the gate worse than HISA came out of the gate. I mean, from the day they launched their website, they had issues. Okay, the website didn't launch properly. It reminded me of the day that they launched the I don't know what it was called, the healthcare.gov, you know, the Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, you know, website, and it, you know, was crashing the first day. People couldn't get online and sign up. They spent millions and millions of dollars to build that website. It was crashing. The HISA website crashing. Oh, look, they can go on Amazon. Amazon got, never mind millions, billions of users at the same time. I don't think sites ever been down. There's never a time you can go on Amazon. I don't care if it's Christmas Day, Christmas morning, New Year's Eve, Wednesday afternoon. Does not matter. That site's never down, never crashed, never a hiccup. You could buy something on Amazon, press a button, have it at your door a day or two later. I don't care what it is and where you are and when it is. Whoever built the Amazon site is the one that should have built it. The healthcare.gov site probably would have cost them less money than they paid, and definitely the HISA website, because that's a joke to come out that way, especially for, you know, sites that are backed and run by the government. No excuse for that kind of nonsense. And it just, you know, shows a tip of the iceberg. You know, when you see the tip of the iceberg, okay, and you're out on the ocean and you see the tip of the iceberg, you don't need to get in the water and look underneath the surface of the water to know what's under the tip of the iceberg. You know what's there. You see the tip of the iceberg, you know what's underneath it. Just read about the Titanic. You see the tip of the iceberg, there's an iceberg under that ocean. So that was kind of like the tip. And HISA, I still supported them. I said, you know what? It happens, hiccup, you know, and I just watched things unfold for the past several months, however long it's been, to see, you know, how things would go and what they've evolved into. And they said in their fairness that, you know, they were going to kind of wing it and learn as they went along. And they've been doing that, and they've made some adjustments, and they've made some changes, and they've tried to, form an advisory board and listen to people and whatnot. But, now, after the stewards blew a few calls based on the HISA rules, and we saw a huge emphasis on crop violations with fines and whatnot, and we saw owners blamed for that. And in her credit and defense, Lisa Lazarus was graceful enough to come on my show on Past the Wire TV and do a one-on-one interview with me. She's a very intelligent lady, has her heart in the right place, I believe, has good intentions. Good intentions don't mean anything. That reminds me of, and I like to reference different things. Pulp Fiction. I remember in the beginning of Pulp Fiction, that kid told Jules, Samuel Jackson's character, we got into this thing with Marcellus Wallace with the best of intentions. And Jules immediately shot his friend and said, oh, did I break your concentration? You were saying something about best intentions. It's all about results, not about best intentions. A lot of people got good intentions, get bad results. Results are what matters, not what your intentions are. So I do believe that she has good intentions, and she did explain why owners were being penalized for rider crop violations. And it made sense because owners, their intel told them that owners were telling riders, hey, listen, just use the crop however you want, we'll pay the fine. So they had to, kind of extend that penalty to owners to get them to stop telling riders, hey, we'll pay the fine. So, there was rhyme or reason, and there was a thought process to a lot of things that they were doing that was not really public knowledge, and a lot of people didn't understand or know. But in watching them evolve and make changes and go after people, okay, you see small barns can't afford to fight some stiff penalties for positives and violations that are A, obviously contamination, B, minor and not PED or performance enhancing or race outcome affecting kind of things. And I get we need to clean up the game, and I get we need to start somewhere. But if you're going to come out of the box as a governmental authority and go after low-hanging fruit that can't defend itself, while the real offenders are continuing to get away with what they get away with and jumping on the bandwagon to knock HISA and say, look how bad HISA is, look what they're doing, because that serves their self-interest. If HISA fails, you're coming out all wrong. You're coming out all wrong. An agency like HISA, with the knowledge and power and backing behind it that it obviously has, being a quasi-governmental agency, if not a complete governmental agency, you need to come out and go after not low-hanging fruit. You need to go after the real serious offenders, not the minor overages, not the obvious contamination. Now they're talking about extending injection times out from 14 days to 30 days. This is stuff that should have been, discussed and explored in detail with people who understand it and know it well in advance. And sometimes, although the owners and trainers and stakeholders in the game are often the most knowledgeable ones, and this might carry over into the alliance conversation that we're going to have in a minute, they're not always the most objective ones. And they're not the only knowledgeable ones. So you have to get people that truly don't have conflicts and don't have self-interests, and truly have the best interest of the sport, and more importantly, the horse in the forefront. And I think HISA might have missed the boat on that a little bit. You have people heading huge partnerships, buying and selling horses, living their life off other people's money, buying and selling horses. And that's great. All the power to them. I never criticize anybody for what they do unless it, affects me or is just, taking advantage of, people that shouldn't be. But, if you want to get into those kind of things and do that, that's up to you. And, but people that are in that position that are, possibly advising HISA and they're basing their decision on it, they have their own self-interest at heart. You know what I mean? Not what's best for the game, what's best for them. And that's a huge conflict. Can't work long term. Now HISA is looking at some of the changes that California made, which have been very successful and have shown good results and had a positive impact. Did what California do show me enough that we don't need outside regulation? No, it didn't. But I've lost a lot of faith and a lot of belief that HISA can be successful. Am I completely off them yet? No, they're still here. I'm still gonna say, hopefully they'll figure it out. Hopefully they won't ruin too many careers or lives or reputations before they do. They've already hurting some people. We know that that probably don't deserve it, while people that may deserve it are just business as usual. I'm not a fan of selective enforcement. I'm not a fan of that whole system at all. But that's what we're left to deal with right now with HISA. So hopefully they get it right. Hopefully Lisa figures it out. Hopefully they start listening to people who have some knowledge and understanding of the game and who have the interest of the horse first and the sport first, and not self-interests first, which I think is a big problem with all these type of organizations. And HISA, I get that they wanted to get input from the sport because Lisa Lazarus has a background in the NFL, I believe she told me about when she was on the show. It's a sport. It's not horse racing. Horse racing is a very unique sport, very different than the NFL. Most NFL players, I believe, make the decision to get on the field themselves. Horses don't. We make that decision for them. Whole different level of responsibility and accountability there. So you need people who understand the game and understand the animal and have the animal's best interest, and then the sport's best interest, at the forefront, not their own. Racing is like one enormous conflict of interest anyway. But HISA's got a road to haul. They really do. They have a monumental task in front of them, and I think they made their hole deeper, not more shallow, the way they came out of the box and the way they've continued to run through their quote learning, adapting, and educational process. So HISA, you want to improve this game, you need to really, really step it up, and you need to do it fast. That's all I got to say. Hopefully they get some of the right advice. We'll stop for a minute, and then we'll come back and talk about this new alliance funded by Mike Repole, and see if that's the answer or a help or a hindrance, or how that's gonna shake out, if it's any different than anything we've seen before. So hang tight.
Tracking trips with Pick Six King John Stetton. It's one of the best tools in horse racing for any level of player. It's your second set of eyes, spotting troubled trips, betting angles, track trends, horses to watch and favorites to fade, 10 figs, ticket structure, and more. At Tracking Trips, you're a friend with benefits.
Not a member? You must hate winning money. Join Tracking Trips now. Visit PastsTheWire.com and we'll see you in the winner's circle. Remember, nobody does it better.
Frankie Dettori. Ciao, Frankie. Tutto a posto.
Tutto a posto. Yes, that's a good start. So you haven't lost your Italian.
Frankie Dettori, legend, world-class jockey, one of the best ever to sit in the saddle, ambassador to the sport of kings. Meet Frankie during his fanfare like never before, only on Past the Wire TV.
Classic. Vino Rosso has taken the lead. And it's a vintage performance by Vino Rosso.
Okay. The National Thoroughbred Alliance, the NTA. Mike Repole's quote was, this is about unity, this is about improvement, this is about trying a different take to get everybody to work together. I don't know what's different about it. I think the idea is great. I think we need help, but I'm not exactly sure what the National Thoroughbred Alliance or NTA is going to be, or how it's going to play in with the Jockey Club, the NTRA, HISA, what's going to be different about it. They did hire Pat Cummings. A lot of people respect Pat Cummings. He's very intelligent. He's got a lot of facts and figures. The National Idea Foundation that he was, doing with Craig Bernick had a lot of great ideas. Put a lot of things that were best for the industry out there, a lot of things that were best for the bettor out there. Owners and bettors are the only two people that are putting money in the game as opposed to taking it out of the game. And very little gets done right for both of those groups. And they've got very little voice in, what goes on. But, different. I don't know what they're different. So, I think hiring Pat as the head of this organization that Mike's willing to put literally millions of dollars of his own money into, I think, could be a positive. But I'm not a jump on the bandwagon kind of guy with that just yet. Do I support the idea? Absolutely. Do I wish that it succeeds? I think I do. I just don't know what exactly their goal is or what they mean by improve the game. We all have a different idea of what improving the game is. What does improving the game mean to Mike and to the National Thoroughbred Alliance and the people that are going to be on the board of the National Thoroughbred Alliance? And if it's going to be a board of owners or just another owners organization, then you get into that whole conflict, self-interest situation again. One of the things he said in a press conference with a bunch of media people that I was not on, didn't even know about it, found out after the fact, didn't listen to it, only read about it. But he said that they were going to try and educate HISA, which I do think needs some educating. But are owners the ones that should be educating HISA on what to do or not to do? Maybe, maybe not so fast. There's a flip side to that coin, you can't get away from the fact that, Mike had the favorite for the Kentucky Derby in Forte. Okay. It's a fact. Forte had a positive test pending from the hopeful stakes the year prior at Saratoga. That's a fact. He spoke a lot about transparency, never disclosed that. That's a fact. Now, he may know a lot more about that positive than we do, and that it was nothing, and that there was no reason to disclose it or whatever, or that may be his opinion, and he's certainly entitled to it. But the bottom line, the facts are the horse has a positive. We're talking about transparency. The positive was not disclosed. Before the horse was scratched, vet scratched for the Kentucky Derby, Mike praised the Kentucky organization out there and the Kentucky Horsemen's Benevolent Association as being the benchmark and should be the benchmark for the industry. And, a day or two later, they scratched his favorite for the Kentucky Derby, and he's arguing with them. Well, if they're the benchmark, why are we arguing with them? And Forte after that, ran. He won the Jim Dandy, didn't run the Travers, didn't win the Travers, and then now he retired. I would say early, before the Classic. I think they would have wanted to run in the Classic. Nest took a long time to come back. Came back, won her debut race in for the year in a relatively weak field, was out in the middle of the track, then came back and couldn't replicate that. She's gone, not racing anymore. So Mike has got big money in the game and is a big money player in the game and is a big owner in the game. And just a couple of weeks ago made the statement that he's so disgusted with the game, as many of us are, okay, that he was considering getting out of it. I didn't believe for a second that he was going to get out of it. It's a hard game to get out of it. We love it. It gets into us and it's hard to get out of, but it's hard for Mike to be objective. It goes back to that, thing, people talking about their kids. It's hard for Mike to be in an objective position when he's got the kind of money he's got invested into the game. And I don't care how many billions he has or doesn't have. I don't count other people's money, but the amount of money he has invested into the game speaks for itself. And anybody that's got that kind of money invested in the game, you wouldn't have that kind of money, no matter how lucky you got or what Powerball you hit or what business you sold. You wouldn't have that kind of money to invest very long if you weren't cognizant of, how to protect it and how to invest it properly and how to look out for it. So I just don't know. I'm wait and see on the National Thoroughbred Alliance. Let's see how it plays out, and let's see if it's just a way of owners buying or throwing weight around to gain influence, or make things better for them as opposed to better for the game. Again, I give Mike the benefit of the doubt. He's saying the right things. If he can step back and separate, and that'd be a rare individual to have the fortitude and the love of the animal and the sport to do that. And I don't think we saw an example of that in the Kentucky Derby. I'll be honest. I say that to Mike when I see him. I don't think we saw that. But again, I'm not privy to all the particulars, so there could be more to it than I know. But based on what we saw and what we know, I don't think we saw that kind of leadership. And I think he's in a position to show that kind of leadership. So hopefully he will. And I'd love to talk to him about it. And if I see him, I will. And if he talks to me, that's great. But if not, that's okay too. But, I think that you need to be able to differentiate what's in your best interest and what's in the sport and the animal's best interest if you're going to truly save horse racing. I mean, we know what's going on in Puerto Rico. We know that there's a video floating around that Peter put out, and I'm not a fan of Peter, but that doesn't mean that they can't be on the right side of an argument every now and then. There's a video Peter put out of a harness trainer and two other guys brutally abusing a standard bred. I mean, there are horrible things going on. There are two Kentucky Derby horses that I'm aware of, and I'm nobody, that I've tried to save and help and have not been able to do, and have not been able to get the right people to help me get that done. But there are two Kentucky Derby horses that are in unbelievably poor conditions as we filmed this video, while we're talking about, saving the game. This guy, harness trainer, whoever he is, beating this horse. The guy a couple of weeks ago in the stall punching a horse. They get fined. They get suspended. Let me tell you something. That's not enough for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Anybody beats a poor defenseless animal like that, that's criminal. That deserves a lot worse than a fine or a suspension of your license. The Ohio Racing Commission should be ashamed of themselves. They should turn that video themselves over to whatever county that is, district attorney, for possible criminal charges. And if it doesn't meet animal abuse charges, then there's something wrong in the state of Ohio, because it certainly should. And I would go a step further. When you look at an organization like HISA, okay, are they going to be regulatory or are they going to be policing? If they're going to be regulatory, then they're probably doomed before they start, because our agency, our industry needs policing as opposed to regulating in order to truly clean it up. Because a lot of the stuff that we take for granted, juicing a horse, all right, it's a crime. Okay, it's not something that should be dealt with a suspension or penalizing somebody. And I'm not talking about some overage of some legal medication. I'm talking about the Service and Navarro type of thing, where those guys actually did go to jail. There are other people and other outfits doing the same thing today. If you don't think that, then there's an oceanfront condo you might want to look at in Las Vegas. It's happening. That's got to be dealt with on a criminal level. So and not by people like HISA, at least the HISA we've seen to date. It's got to be dealt with by people that know how to handle those kind of things. So I wanted to just weigh in on this National Thoroughbred Alliance. Is it really going to be an alliance? I like Pat as the head guy, because he is, a little better friendly and a little better conscious. And I mean better with an OR, not an ER. So, hopefully they could do so good. But like I said, I've got reservations due to, what I pointed out. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully, their heart will truly be in the right place, and as opposed to going in with the best of intentions, they'll go in and get the best results. Which, what their idea of best results is, I don't know. I think Mike said something like he wanted the game to be around for an 8-year-old daughter or an 80-year-old trainer, and I think a lot of us would like to see that. But how we get there and how we do that, I think has to start with the horse. Has to start with the horse. And I don't see that happening with any of these organizations now. I see the best of intentions, and we know what that got that guy in Pulp Fiction. So that's all we got for now. Ciao. We will see you all at the Breeders' Cup. Curious your comments and takes. Leave them at the bottom. Hit the like button if you like it. Subscribe if you like these videos, and follow us through the Breeders' Cup. We'll have some fun for sure. Try and keep things on a positive note. So Ciao for now.
Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING. Get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator exclusively on DRF Bets.
Hello friends, Cheeto DePazio here, Mob King. Anytime I'm wanting to know any information about the sport of kings, horse racing, I look to my man Jonathan Stetton, PassTheWire.com. And if you're looking to bet, like I always am, no better source than Jonathan. They don't call him the Pick Six King for nothing. So why don't you do what I do with anything that pertains to horse racing? PassTheWire.com. Tell him Cheeto DePazio sent you.
It is here, the big day, the day almost all of us in horse racing wait for, Breeders' Cup Saturday. It looks like we're going to see some really, really impressive races on Saturday. It starts with the filly and mare sprint. One of my stronger opinions on the card is Goodnight Olive to start things off. I think she gets a perfect trip.
Goodnight Olive, 6 in a row and a Breeders' Cup champion.
We've got Modern Games going in the Turf Mile for Godolphin. The Godolphin and Aidan O'Brien horses we said on Past the Wire TV all week long on the backside. Those two contingents stuck out from all the rest. Modern Games looking for a big race from him.
Modern Games storming down the center of the course. Modern Games, a two-time Breeders' Cup winner. You bet he is.
That is Rebels Romance, who in my humble opinion is one of Godolphin's better chances this year. Rebels Romance is a very, very good looking Godolphin horse that can absolutely win this race. Rebels Romance is a must use.
Rebels Romance rolling on the outside. Warlock got it. Makes her bid down toward the inside. Rebels Romance down the center of the course. Has it close to home. Rebels Romance wins the turf over Stoney.
We got Flightline that they're putting in the best ever category. There's no question that the race he ran in the Pacific Classic is one of the best races we've seen any racehorse run ever.
It is Flightline. It is spine-tingling, jaw-dropping, awe-inspiring, secretariat-like.
Now, probably to me, the most intriguing horse in the race, Arabian Night, who I thought was probably one of the best 3-year-olds early in the year.
Feel for the $1 million FanDuel Pacific Classic sent on their way. On the inside, Go Rocket Ride broke beautifully and goes straight to the lead. Being joined now by Arabian Night. 2 favorites, 1-2 in the early going.
Arabian Night is the last, and maybe mirror on the wall. Who's the fastest one of all? At the end of the day, it just might be Arabian Night if he goes forward as much as I think he can off that 1 3/4.
It's Arabian Night hanging on. Go Rocket Ride. Arabian Night has won the Pacific Classic.
I land on the bottom horse, Bright Future, for Todd Pletcher.
As the field turns for home, Bright Future is up to take the lead.
1 for 1 at Saratoga. You all know how much I like that, and we all know that all meet long, the horses that went over the track, the horses that like the track.
Bright Future digging in. Proxy's trying to get him. Bright Future or Proxy. Bright Future, Proxy. Here's the line. Photo finish. Bright Future.
Very interesting in Detroit, in my opinion. This is a horse that always showed a lot of potential. Exploded second time out, win by 4.
Here comes Cogburn, and Cogburn has his sights on Nobles in the final 16th of a mile.
There's a lot of turf in this pedigree, top and bottom.
It will be Cogburn on the outside, getting to the front.
The other thing that I like about Cogburn a lot is when I look at his Thoroughbred numbers. He's got some fast races. He's got a 1.
And Cogburn under Ricardo Santana Jr. wins the Troy.
I love in these 3-year-old races. Again, those of you that watch the show and have been reading, you know, my columns and a lot of my handicapping things over the years know I like up and comers. I like betting horses to do things that, you know, maybe we can anticipate that some others can't, and that's how you sometimes beat a lot of favorites. I like program trading.
And program trading, resilient coming back on the inside. Program trading would not be denied.
White Barrio is very interesting to me for a couple of reasons. We heard from Blake, we know what the Bond thinks, okay? Second time Rick Dutrow. This time gets the jump from the catbird seat and turn it for home. White Barrio was going to be in the race, if not on the lead, in the race, and the one they got to go get.
They're at the top of the stretch in the Whitney, and White Barrio is the leader narrowly over Giant Game.
We've had Irad breezing him a bunch at Belmont before he came up here. I know Irad really likes him. You know, we think that he should improve off of his last race. And, you know, if he gets a clean trip, we're expecting him to run big.
Look at White Barrio and Arad Ortiz Jr. in a runaway. White Barrio wins by almost 6 lengths.
Does it better.